Osama bin Laden became a name synonymous with global terrorism. He was the founder and leader of the militant Islamist organization Al-Qaeda. This group was responsible for numerous attacks worldwide. Bin Laden's actions profoundly altered the landscape of international security. He orchestrated devastating acts of violence against civilian and military targets. His ideology aimed to provoke a clash between the Muslim world and the West. Understanding his journey is crucial to understanding a significant chapter of modern history. He transformed from a privileged son of a wealthy family into a figure of international infamy. His path was one of increasing extremism and violence. Osama bin Mohammed bin Awad bin Laden was born in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The date was March 10, 1957. His family was exceptionally wealthy and influential. His father, Mohammed bin Laden, was a construction magnate. Mohammed had close ties to the Saudi royal family. Osama was one of over 50 children fathered by Mohammed. His upbringing was within a strict interpretation of Islam, specifically the Salafi school of thought. This early religious environment undoubtedly shaped his worldview. He inherited a considerable fortune after his father's death. This wealth would later fuel his militant activities across the globe. Bin Laden pursued higher education at King Abdulaziz University in Jeddah. There he reportedly studied economics and business administration. However, his university years were more significant for his religious and ideological development. He came under the influence of key Islamist thinkers. Abdullah Azzam, a Palestinian Islamic scholar, was particularly impactful. Azzam preached the necessity of jihad to defend Muslim lands from foreign aggression. Another influence was Muhammad Qutb, brother of the Egyptian Islamist Sayyid Qutb. These teachings solidified bin Laden's move towards a militant interpretation of Islam and a deep-seated opposition to Western influence in Muslim countries. The Soviet invasion of Afghanistan in 1979 proved to be a pivotal moment for bin Laden. He traveled to Afghanistan soon after the invasion. He was eager to join the Mujahideen, the Islamic warriors fighting the Soviet forces. Using his personal fortune and family connections, he played a significant role. He helped fund, recruit, and organize Arab fighters wishing to join the Afghan jihad. Alongside Abdullah Azzam, he co-founded Maktab al-Khidmat, or the Services Bureau. This organization provided logistical support to the foreign Mujahideen. It served as a precursor to his most infamous creation, Al-Qaeda. Around 1988, as the Soviet-Afghan War neared its end, Maktab al-Khidmat began to evolve. Osama bin Laden, alongside Abdullah Azzam, transformed it into a new entity, Al-Qaeda, meaning the base. Initially, Al-Qaeda aimed to catalog and support the Arab fighters who had participated in the Afghan jihad. However, its objectives soon broadened significantly. The organization sought to unite jihadists globally. Its new purpose was to wage a holy war against perceived enemies of Islam. Chief among these enemies, in bin Laden's view, was the United States of America. He particularly resented the presence of U.S. military forces in Saudi Arabia following the 1991 Gulf War, viewing it as a desecration of holy lands. Al-Qaeda's violent campaign began to manifest in the early 1990s. One of its first known attacks occurred in 1992. It targeted United States troops stationed in Yemen. Although this attack caused limited casualties, it signaled bin Laden's intent. The following year, Al-Qaeda was indirectly linked to the 1993 bombing of the World Trade Center in New York. This earlier attempt to topple the iconic towers failed but demonstrated the growing ambition of the group. These initial operations were relatively small in scale, however, they laid the groundwork for more devastating attacks. Al-Qaeda was methodically building its capacity for global terror. The mid to late 1990s saw a significant escalation in Al-Qaeda's activities. On August 7, 1998, near-simultaneous truck bombings struck the U.S. embassies in Nairobi, Kenya, and Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. These attacks were devastating. They killed over 200 people, including 12 Americans, and injured thousands more. The embassy bombings brought Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda to worldwide attention. They starkly demonstrated the organization's reach and lethality. 2 years later, in October 2000, Al-Qaeda operatives attacked the USS Cole, a U.S. Navy destroyer. The warship was refueling in Aden, Yemen, when a small boat laden with explosives rammed its hull, killing 17 American sailors. The apogee of Al-Qaeda's terror campaign, and the event for which Osama bin Laden is most infamous, occurred on September 11, 2001. This meticulously planned operation involved 19 hijackers. they commandeered 4 commercial passenger airplanes within the United States. 2 of the aircraft were flown into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York City. A third airplane struck the Pentagon in Arlington, Virginia, the headquarters of the U.S. Department of Defense. The 4th plane, United Airlines Flight 93, crashed into a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, after passengers and crew bravely fought the hijackers. These coordinated attacks resulted in the deaths of nearly 3,000 innocent people from over 90 countries. The September 11th attacks provoked an immediate and profound global response. The United States, under President George W. Bush, declared a war on terror. Al-Qaeda and its leader, Osama Bin Laden, became the primary targets of this new global campaign. The U.S. administration demanded that the Taliban regime in Afghanistan, which was harboring Bin Laden and Al-Qaeda, extradite him. The Taliban refused. Consequently, in October 2001, a U.S.-led military coalition launched Operation Enduring Freedom. The invasion of Afghanistan aimed to topple the Taliban, dismantle Al-Qaeda's training camps, and capture or kill its leadership. The initial phase of the war saw the Taliban quickly removed from power. Amidst the chaos of the invasion, Osama bin Laden managed to evade capture. He became the most wanted fugitive on the planet. A substantial bounty was placed on his head. It was widely believed that he had sought refuge in the rugged, mountainous Tora Bora region of eastern Afghanistan. From there, he was thought to have crossed the porous border into the federally administered tribal areas of Pakistan. This remote and often lawless region provided a sanctuary. For nearly a decade, bin Laden remained elusive. He relied on a small, dedicated network of couriers to communicate with the outside world and his dispersed followers, meticulously avoiding electronic means of communication. Intelligence agencies from numerous countries, spearheaded by the United States, embarked on an intensive and protracted manhunt. The National Security Agency initially attempted to track bin Laden using his satellite phone communications. However, this method became compromised after media reports publicized its use, leading bin Laden to cease using such devices. Intelligence efforts then shifted focus. They concentrated on identifying and tracking his most trusted couriers. This was an incredibly challenging task. It involved sifting through immense volumes of signals intelligence and human intelligence. Analysts meticulously pieced together fragments of information, patiently working to uncover his whereabouts. Despite his isolation, Osama bin Laden did not remain silent. Periodically, he released audio and video recordings. These messages were smuggled out of his hiding places and broadcast by media outlets like Al Jazeera. In these pronouncements, he continued to exhort his followers to wage jihad. He condemned U.S. foreign policy and its allies. He often taunted his pursuers, celebrating Al-Qaeda's perceived successes and threatening further attacks. His ability to elude capture for so long, despite the immense resources dedicated to finding him, enhanced his mystique among his supporters. For his enemies, it was a source of continued frustration and a reminder of the ongoing threat he posed. After years of painstaking intelligence work, a significant breakthrough occurred. The focus of the manhunt had narrowed to one particular courier. This individual was known to be extremely loyal to Osama bin Laden. U.S. intelligence operatives diligently tracked this courier's movements over an extended period. Eventually, his activities led them to a large, unusually secure compound. The compound was located in Abbottabad, a relatively affluent city in Pakistan, not far from a prominent military academy. The nature of the compound, with its high walls, lack of internet or phone lines, and extensive security measures, raised suspicions that it harbored a high-value target. Following months of surveillance and analysis, U.S. intelligence became increasingly confident that Osama bin Laden himself was residing within the Abbottabad compound. President Barack Obama was presented with the intelligence. After careful deliberation with his national security team, he authorized a covert military operation. On May 2, 2011, May 1st in U.S. time, a small team of U.S. Navy SEALs, part of the Naval Special Warfare Development Group, conducted a daring raid. They traveled by helicopter from Afghanistan into Pakistan. The operation was executed with precision. During a firefight within the compound, Osama bin Laden was killed. The news of Osama bin Laden's death was announced to the world by President Obama. It resonated globally. In the United States and many allied nations, there were spontaneous celebrations. His death was hailed as a momentous victory in the long war on terror. It was seen as a measure of justice for the thousands of lives lost on September 11, 2001, and in other al-Qaeda attacks. To prevent his burial site from becoming a shrine for his followers, Bin Laden's body was transported to a U.S. naval vessel. Following Islamic tradition, he was buried at sea within 24 hours of his death. This decision aimed to erase his physical presence from the world. The death of Osama bin Laden dealt a severe blow to al-Qaeda's central leadership and operational capabilities. The organization's influence has arguably diminished since 2011. However, the potent ideology of Salafi jihadism that he championed continues to resonate with extremist groups across the globe. Offshoots and affiliated organizations and even rival groups like the Islamic State still draw inspiration from his call to violence. Bin Laden's actions irrevocably altered global security paradigms. They led to significant changes in U.S. foreign policy, increased surveillance measures worldwide, and protracted military engagements. The world continues to grapple with the complex and enduring legacy of the man who brought terror to a global scale.